If I told you that you could be your own healer, would you believe me? And on today's episode, we're actually diving straight into that to tell you how to become your own healer. If only you just listen.
Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Welcome to Hope, Healing, and Transformation. My name is Lisa Williams, and today we are diving in to the fabulous topic of intuition. Yes, I know I talk about this all the time, but it is actually the one thing that is going to keep you healthy. It's going to keep you well. It's going to give you longevity. It's going to give you the knowledge that you need if only you choose to listen, because you, my friends, can be the healer that you need. This intuitive voice that you were born with, yes, you were born with, is now wanting to speak to you. And it is all about just trusting it again. It is about really being connected to it. So if you've ever felt a little bit unsure or a little disconnected, like you've been, outsourcing your wisdom and not listening to everybody, to your own self, and listening to everybody else, then this is for you, because now it's about starting to trust yourself. We have stopped trusting ourselves sometimes. We have been in this cultural conditioning where we have been outsourcing our wisdom and the things that we need to be doing. We've kind of outsourced it to other people. Let me explain this. I'm going to talk about me, because there was a point, and I remember distinctly where I was. I was living in California, and in my one home, I had a beautiful piano room because I play the piano, and I have this beautiful music room. And I was standing in my music room, and I made an announcement to somebody, and I said, I am moving. And they looked at me, were like, what? And I said, I'm moving. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, I've decided that I'm no longer listening to everybody else. I have found a house that I am moving to. I am doing this, and I am not listening to anybody else. I am trusting my own intuition. And I think they were flabbergasted, absolutely bloody flabbergasted. And I'm talking about the people that work for me, because we work from my house. And I said, no, this is what I'm doing. And they were like, what? And I said, yeah, because I am done with listening to everybody else. I am done with outsourcing and listening to other people's opinions based upon them. Well, of course, then I kind of got a little bit older, and then I realized, again, I was having this moment of epiphany, and it was only recently, in the last maybe 18 months, that I listened to everybody else. And yes, I listened to my husband. I listened to my army of people. I call them my army because they're my warriors. And some of them you have met, and some of them you haven't. But I listened to my tribe of people. And my army and my warriors, I know that I can go to them and they can give me very, very independent advice, and they can tell me their side of the thing based upon what they know of me. And they are my intimate inner circle. However, what I've also realized, as we start getting older, as we start getting more aware of who we are still outsourcing our wisdom and going somewhere else because we're not trusting ourselves. But here's the thing, my friends. Why are we trusting somebody else to help us make our decisions? Okay. And then we actually listen to them and go, because they've got reason for it, we're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But reality is we're not listening to our own intuition. And some people may be judging our thoughts, our opinions, our decisions based upon their own childhood wounds. And I see it all the time. It's like, I love my husband. Okay. He's been on my podcast. I'm going to have to bring him on because so many people loved seeing us together. And it was a lot of fun. However, he will give me his opinion and then he'll be like, well, you didn't listen to me. I'm like, I listened to you. But I also realize that while you have a very, very valid point, completely valid point, you also don't live in my world. You also don't live in the intuitive world. You also don't know this intuitive space. You're coming at it from a man's perspective and maybe with some judgment on it. Now, I'm probably being a little bit, I don't know, maybe exaggerated here and hard on him. I don't mean to, because he's a very, very trusted person and he's my biggest cheerleader. Really is. However, there are times that I know that he's coming from his own perspective, his own self-doubts, his own childhood wounding, as are many people. And this is the thing, when people come to me for psychic work, because I do a lot in the psychic world, I'll always say, listen, I am going to tap into you, not tapping into me. I'm tapping into you because I don't. And many people have said to me, what should I do, Lisa? I'm like, I can't make your decision. And I'm not going to, because I do not want to be responsible for your decision. And I'm like, I'm going to give you options. I'll share with the options that I'm seeing, but I'm definitely not going to make a decision. And here's the thing, when we are outsourcing our decisions, what we're doing is we are playing into old childhood traumas, old childhood experiences of being told to ignore your feelings or be nice or, oh, don't be so silly. Oh, you're just too sensitive. Oh, you're a crybaby or you're this or you're that. And we are being told that we're not supposed to be honest. Okay. I remember, all right, and I go back to my elementary school, 10 Acres First School in Redditch. And there was a girl there who, and I remember her name, and I remember what it was like, and I remember her being called a crybaby. And at that time, it didn't sit well with me. And I felt sorry for her. I did feel very, very sorry for her. But what I realized is when it was her nervous system that was calming everything down, and her whole nervous system was just, she would just cry because it was just her nervous system processing her emotions. And at that age, her brain is not, it's not fully developed enough for her to access a lot of sort of like very complex emotions. And so reality is that was what was going on. So, and I use this as an example here. I use this absolutely as an example. That girl, who I'm not in touch with anymore, bless her, she's probably been brought up, and I can't speak for her, but I can just give an assumption. But she's probably been told that she's far too sensitive, far too, a crybaby, and it stuck with her. And so now she's probably very, very hard or raw, very tough woman, and good for her. But that might be an underlying sort of line that she's heard all of her life. So she has just hid it. And so what my here is an example where we shouldn't hide. We're getting to the point that we are, and most people, and I would say most people here are who are listening to my podcast here, most people are, you know who you are. You have probably done that midlife doubting about, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Should you go for this job? Should you be in this relationship? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Really great place to be. Then we have this people pleasing, this people pleasing of, oh, I've got to say yes, and I've got to say this, and I've got to do this. Well, my friends, no, you bloody well don't, okay? You absolutely don't. Is the only person that you should please is yourself. And I'm going to tell you, my mom is the best person at this. And one of the things I love about my mom is she always used to say, oh, please yourself. And it used to irritate the crap on me. It absolutely really irritated the crap out of me. Because what I realized is my mom was, it was just her way of saying, oh, well, you're all doing yourself. Please yourself, please yourself. And I hated it. However, and it was kind of a little bit of a guilt. But I also realized that there was a great lesson in it for my mom. She was actually telling me that I have to please me, and also the thing is, she's always said, listen, I don't want to be a burden. You do you. You do you. And I think it's a great way of being. My mum is definitely not a people pleaser. She will absolutely help people, but she certainly doesn't people please. That's what I love about her. Now, the other thing is that we are being medically gaslit. Let me talk about that. Is we are being told that everything is okay. Oh, don't worry about that. Oh, your numbers are fine. Don't worry about this. Where reality is that we sometimes are struggling with our own body, and where our own intuition is telling us what is going on. And the doctors, I'm not saying all doctors, I'm saying some doctors are not, they're just putting it down to typical symptoms and they're treating the symptoms, my friend. This is important and you have to listen to it. I remember a story, right? Some of you might have heard this, but I think it's a very, very important story here that will share with you how my intuition was right. And it was before I had my hysterectomy. It was before anything like that. So I'm talking probably late, I might have been 30, maybe 28, 30. And I remember going to I was probably 30. I remember going to the doctors and I said to them, hey, I have a tumor or I have a growth and it needs to come out. And I know something's wrong. And my doctor was like, you know what? It's fine. I don't feel anything. Come back next week if you're still in pain. Well, so if you know anything about the English system or anything to do with doctors, and I'm still talking 20 years ago, that you're not going to get an appointment if you phone up that morning and, I've got pain in my gut. No, you're not going to get that. So I walked out of my appointment with my doctor and I walked straight to reception and said, I need an appointment for this time next week. And so I booked an appointment for this time next week. I went back that time next week and she said, oh, you're back. And I said, yes, it hasn't gone. I have a problem and it needs to get fixed. And she's like, okay. So she sent me to the hospital to have an ultrasound. They took me to they went and did the ultrasound. They couldn't see anything, but I still put on the pain and everything else. They then admitted me into hospital and they said, we're going to put you onto an IV drip because of this. We're going to give you some antibiotics and hopefully that will take care of whatever is going on. And that was on the Friday. On the Saturday, I'm like, there's something definitely worse. And the pain was getting a little bit worse and not a lot, but I put the pain on. I kind of enhanced the pain in my head. And they said, we're going to do a laparoscopy surgery. We're going to just have a little bit of a gander in there. Let's see what's going on. Anyway, 3 hours later, I come out being sliced hip to hip with my left ovarian tube removed because, lo and behold, there was a big growth around my left ovarian tube, and there was a big problem. So I knew what was going on. So I was being told, hey, oh, you're fine. Don't worry. If there's a problem, come back. And I had to listen. So this is what I'm trying to say to you, my friends. If you feel intuitively something is wrong with you, you have to trust it. So let's look at intuition, what intuition really feels like, because there's something that happens here with intuition. First of all, we have fear. Our fear overrides us. And in fact, in my next mini-series, because I'm kind of like this little mini-series that I'm doing, and this mini-series, which is called The Shit We Carry, which I think is a great title, I think is great. My next mini-series is all about fear, and that's going to be coming out very, very soon. But fear is one part of us. Then we have ego, we have logic, we have intuition. Now, if you look at Tara Swart, okay, I love this woman. She's just brought out a book called The Signs, and she is a neuroscientist. But I first discovered her through working at a course, and I did a course at with MIT on neuroscience for business, and she was one of the facilitator. Well, she was the facilitator, and she wrote a book called The Source. Unbelievable woman. And she defined it in 6 categories when we talked about our brain. But she also included intuition. And when we're talking about this, it kind of made me feel about Tara Swart here. However, let's talk about intuition. I digress, but she's an amazing woman. Intuition. Sometimes we can't listen to our intuition because it gets overshadowed by our fear, by our ego, by our logic, by everything, all of this stuff that happens. So our fear, first of all, our wants. Now, let's talk about ego, first of all. I have had it so many times, and I'm just going to share a very, very general perspective here. It's a very, very, very generalized thing. So if you're one of my clients or you know me or whatever, I am not talking about anyone specific, but I'm just going to tell you what I generally see because I have been done this work for 3 decades, 30 plus years. I'm just sharing my awareness. So I have these people that come in and they say, I know that this person is meant to be in my life. I know that this person is my soulmate. I know that I need to bring this person into my life. My intuition is telling me I know. I'm like, no, that's your ego. Or that is maybe a part of a fear. And yes, there might be an intuitive part of it, but your intuition is never going to define that person, that specific thing. It could be that that person represents a person or a way that person might materialize or manifest. But sometimes it doesn't always be that. When we're working directly with intuition, that person may reflect, may be a reflection of the person that may come into your life, but it may not absolutely be that. So we have to understand that intuition is a little whisper. Our ego goes, no, I know, that this person has got to be in my life, da, 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 da. But the intuitive part is never really going to say, oh, it's definitive. It's going to be, now, I will say, some people might actually say, oh, well, Lisa, I'm not quite sure. Listen, I'm just going to talk from my perspective. Your intuition will have gut feelings. You'll get signals from the universe. You may get signals from spirit. But what they're showing you is that this person, this specific person that you are adamant needs to come into your life, is a representation of a person that is going to present themselves. Doesn't mean it's absolutely them. And I want you to know that. So I think that is such an important space to know. And I'll tell you why I know this is because the person that I was dating before, Chris, I was like, oh my God, that's it. It's him, it's him, it's him, it's him. And truly, that person was instrumental in me meeting my husband. They could be instrumental in your life for a reason. So I want you to know this. So your intuition is more quieter. It's going to give you subtle clues and subtle hints. Our fear steps in because our brain wants to keep us safe. And it goes, no, hold on, we can't do that. So we get trapped in this fight or flight. We get trapped in this place. And then we have logic and data. Okay, logic. We have logic and data that come in here. And this logic and data, we start going off previous experiences. But what we really need to listen to is our body, our gut, the chills, the throat, the heart pull, the tightness of our chest. We need to listen to these. Muscle testing. We need to do all of these things. Because sometimes it's this little whisper, and it is always a little whisper and a little nudge. It's never this like big bam. It's just this little nudge. And I will tell you, there's so many people that I know who have made massive decisions based upon their intuition, and it's changed everything. Everything. And this is what we have to listen. We have to listen deep into this, because spirit, and so I mean spirit people, those who have passed over, God, the divine source, whatever you want to call it, is going to work through your intuitive senses. I have to tell you, I feel, and this is just my perspective from my perspective personally, from a space of being in this industry for decades, how our intuition is now being classed as the secret weapon of everything. Your intuition is your secret weapon, because it's going to be activated through your many senses. And you don't have to be a professional psychic or medium to receive guidance. In fact, I'm going to save you thousands on listening to your intuition, so you don't have to go and have psychic readings. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably doing myself out of a job. Anyway, all right, listen, I have so many people that come to me and say, I just need you to back up my intuition. I'm like, sure. I'm going to tell them what I see, and they're like, yes, intuitively, I was right. It's really important for you to start listening. Okay, your intuition is your true remembering. Okay, it's your soul truly remembering what you know. So let's understand how it comes. Now, I'm going to explain this to you, because I've been teaching this for years. Okay, and I love it. I love this. So we have 6 senses. Our 6 senses. I'm going to share them with you. Now, they do have technical names such as clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, blah, 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 blah. However, that means that I am now teaching you a whole foreign language, and your brain is going to go, what? So I'm not going to use that language. Where that language comes from it's French. If we look at claircognizance, okay, or let's look at clairvoyance. So clairvoyance, which is probably a thing that you've heard many times, is clear seeing. The voyance is seeing. The clair is French for clear, so it's clairvoyance, okay? So I'm going to use the language that you recognize. I'm going to use hearing, seeing, taste, touch. I'm going to use all of those. So your body has this extra sense about it. So you may see things in your mind's eye when you're dreaming. It may come to you in a dream form. It may come to you in a way of a vision. We had Cherie Lindbergh recently, and we were talking about gaze spotting and brain spotting. That there is an intuitive part of us where we can access our intuition. If you go on your primary side, your most dominant side, and you start moving towards it, moving your eyes and maybe looking up or down, your gaze spot, and you'll find that real enhanced intuitive place where visions just come at you. And it'll be we were talking about having different spots and how you've got these different areas that you can connect to. Your clairvoyance is active. It's going to show you things. Your clairaudience, okay, which is your clear hearing. So your hearing here is where you're going to hear these little whispers. You're going to hear songs. You're going to hear signs. You're going to hear, they're like little signs. So you'll hear songs, you'll hear words, you'll hear phrases. You'll hear a little voice in your head that will sound like yours, my friend. It will sound like your voice. Just saying. Anyway, so you'll have these little things that will come, and somebody might say, I'm intuitively need to tell you X. I'm like, okay, you have to listen. Then you have this clairsentience, which is this feelings. You have these feelings, these moments that you will just feel that you should or shouldn't do something. This feeling, this awareness, this connection, this feeling about something. And at that point of your feeling, you're going to, I just had this awareness about something. But you'll have this feeling about, wow, that feeling is so powerful. You have to trust it. Your body is telling you exactly what you need. Then you have this clear cognizance, which is this clear knowing. Okay, it's that sixth sense, it's that awareness, it's that I just know, I just feel it within my bones. I just know. You have to trust it. And then, of course, we have the smell and we have the taste. Now, these two things work hand in hand. And I always say that it's not really, they are definitely psychic senses. However, when you've really attuned to those four senses I talked about before, these extra two then become highly aware. So when I'm doing a reading, I might taste chocolate and I might go, oh, they love chocolate, or I'm tasting coffee, or I'm smelling cigarettes, or I'm smelling roses, or I'm smelling eggs. And you'll just be able to bring that into a reading. But you don't need to know that they're not necessarily the top two. We're going to work mainly with those four. So you're feeling, you're sensing, you're hearing, you're seeing, and you're knowing. So important. These are the ones that you have to listen to. So we have to activate this within us, this activation. And I want to guide you through this little mini, I guess, intuitive practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with grounding yourself. And then we're going to get you into this intuitive space. And I really want you to start listening and trusting what comes up and have this awareness to where it needs to go, because it can change everything. All right. So if you are driving, please do not do this exercise. Please pause, put it onto save, whatever you need to do. Do not operate heavy machinery while doing this exercise. If you are, find yourself a little quiet space. We're not going to be doing it for long. Maybe you want a pen and paper, whatever it is. Just have a moment. And I just want you to relax. Find your space and breathe. Okay, so you may want to close your eyes or just have soft eyes, almost softening your eyes so you're gazing down, or closing your eyes, whatever is comfortable. And take a deep breath. Breathe into the belly. Breathe and ground your feet on the ground. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw relax, your hands relax. And just find a peace in your breath. Allow your breath to guide you in the rhythm of your body. And ask yourself to be more connected to where you are. And breathe. And should any thoughts or anything just pop in, just let them wash away. And just allow yourself this moment. And silently, I want you to ask yourself, what do I need to hear today? What do I need to hear today? And wait for a word, an image, a sensation to pop up and arise without thought, without question. And whatever comes up, don't question it, just allow it to be. And breathe into it. And maybe you've got nothing. And maybe that's telling you need silence. Maybe it's telling you don't need anything. And just breathe. And allow yourself just to trust. And maybe end with this affirmation. I trust what I receive. I trust myself. And take a deep breath, place your hand on your heart, and breathe in that wisdom. And say thank you to yourself for bringing that information forward. And then slowly open your eyes and come back and maybe shake your hands, shake your body, shake everything off. Maybe you might want to journal. Maybe you might have seen something. But your intuition is secretly lying there. It's like this little moment. It wants to be heard. It wants to be seen. It wants to be touched. It wants to be felt. It wants to be nurtured. It wants to be loved. This intuitive part of you is so powerful. And I'm going to encourage you to do that every single day. Every single day. Have 5 minutes of silence. No input, no nothing, just your breath. I do that every single day. Just have the moment. First thing in the morning, it's my first thing I do. I wake up. I open my eyes. I get up. I stretch. Sometimes I just get back. Sometimes I go to the bathroom. Sometimes I go and clean my teeth. But I always get up. And then I sit down. And then I'm awake. And I need to be awake in that moment of silence because I'm ready to receive. I don't want to fall back to sleep. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to have that silence. I'm ready to know what I need. I'm ready to listen. I'm not asking for guidance. I'm not forcing myself to hear something. I'm just there in that silence. And then I journal. My husband said to me recently, he's like, you're becoming a little bit more sensitive recently. I'm like, and is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing? He's like, no, but you're becoming a little bit more, feelings. And I'm like, and that's because I've been journaling. Oh, I don't enjoy journaling, but I've been journaling. And sometimes that journaling unlocks this stuff. And I'm like, I'm aware of my intuition. I'm aware of my feelings. I know how I feel. Rather than shoving it down, I'm aware. I'm there. And he said to me, he says, is this what your big book is telling you? I'm like, who cares about my big book? It's what I'm feeling. But have these moments of intuitive journaling. Ask yourself a question, whatever it is, and just start writing. I did it this morning. I realized that I was like upset about something. And I was like, nee, 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 nee. And then I went, oh, wow, oh, this. And then suddenly I said to my husband, I went, okay, so I need to share with you this. And he's like, okay. And so all of a sudden I saw it for what it was. And I went, huh. And he went, you know what? You said this. He said, but you assumed I knew that. And I went, yeah, well, now I know this and you didn't. And so he said, now I can see your point. He said, because when you were telling me it made no sense. But I had to journal about it because then I had this epiphany. And I realized that there was this intuitive part of me that I needed to share. And it was so powerful. No one has to see that journaling. Don't overthink it. Allow yourself to really write. What I love right now, my friends, is I love working with my scribe. It's my Amazon Kindle and my scribe together. It's like a little notebook. He's not going to get into my notebook. He can't open this. He can't see what I want to write. It's mine. It's personal. I can delete a page if I want to. I can scribble in it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Another point. So now that we're moving on to the body signals, okay, your body is going to signal when it's off or when it's right, when something is going on. And so what I want you to do is understand when your body is reacting. And you can ask yourself things. If you have got a chest complaint or if you're breathing or if you've got something going on in your chest, you can say, okay, let me talk to my chest. Sounds weird, but let me talk to my chest. All right. Wow. Yeah, my chest is feeling whatever it's feeling. I did it while I was in Norway, actually. I was like, my stomach is talking to me. Why is my stomach talking to me? My stomach was like, meh, 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 meh. And I was like, okay. And I literally put my hand on my belly. I was like, what do you need? What do you need? What is it that you need? And I thought it was my stomach, but it wasn't. It was my pancreas that was talking to me. I was like, oh. And I just needed to, actually, I need to stop the chocolate. My blood sugar was spiking. And I was like, oh, that's what you need. It was like, I'm trying to help you, Lisa, but you're just feeding me with chocolate because I love the Norwegian chocolate. But I was like, oh, okay. So I just had to listen. And your body is going to share things. It's going to tell you, when you're dehydrated, but you've got to listen. Sometimes we want to stop that dehydration before it actually happens. So start listening to your body because it's going to give you signals. Okay. So I want to ask you right now. This is where the viewer share comes in. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. When was the last time you knew something without knowing how you knew it? Okay? When was the last time? So I would love to hear your stories. I think it's really fabulous. And if you don't mind me sharing it, I would love to be sharing it and saying, hey, one listener was saying this, because I think it's so important. Write in your journal what your intuition has been trying to say to you. Write it all down. These are key things for you. And so I want you to remember, you are absolutely intuitive. You are your own healer. If you just listen to your body, it's going to tell you what it needs. You don't have to get it exactly right. You just need to get quiet and just have space and have that moment of going, oh, what's my shoulder telling me? What's my throat telling me? What's my gut telling me? What's my legs telling me? What's my elbows telling me? Just breathe into it. Let's do the affirmation for today. It is, my intuition is clear. My wisdom is alive. I trust the healer within me. My intuition is clear. My wisdom is alive. And I trust the healer within me. Thank you for listening to Hope, Healing and Transformation. And please remember that hope is not a wish. It's a decision to believe in something better. And together, right here, we are going to find that hope and make it a reality. And next week on the episodes, the eight episodes that we are bringing together, this little mini series on the shit that we carry, we are going to be diving in, talking about joy and kindness and what it feels like, especially about that feeling of the kind that feels a little bit Sorry, Ray, I need to pick that up. And on to next episode, we're going to be talking about joy, the kind that feels a little bit rebellious after that grief, and how to give yourself permission to feel good again, how to feel alive again. You don't want to miss it. Until next time, trust in your intuition. It's always talking to you.
Feel a whisper in the back of your mind, like the truth is waiting, but it's hard to find. Well, maybe there's magic in the words she brings. Close your eyes and listen in. Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, the information shared on this podcast is meant to inspire and support you, but it's not a replacement for personalized advice from a qualified professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to tune in next time. Until then, take care and keep believing in something better.